All right, this is the semester 2 practice final. I'm going to do the first 2 chapters of review, so chapter 7 and chapter 8. Then I'll do another chunk with the next 2 chapters, then a third chunk with the last 2 chapters. So I'm going to try to separate it out a little bit for you guys. Started, what's the conjugate? Minus I. So remember, conjugate, everything stays the same except for that sign changes to its opposite. So it should be 10 plus 6i. Don't make that harder than it is. Simplifying, when it's plus, you don't really need your parentheses. And so once you get here, you combine your like terms. So I have 5 plus 9 is 14. Negative 2 minus 10 is negative 12i. Now, technically, if you have negative 12i plus 14, normally that's totally fine. But this is multiple choice, so this is what your answer is going to look like, not like this one. So as long as you can go between the two, I don't care how you do it, but multiple choice, that definitely will be how it is. Simplify. So this 3i, we're going to multiply. And this is where things get a little bit interesting because 3i times 4 is 12i. Times negative 2 is negative 6i squared. But remember, I squared is not like an x squared. If it's I squared, that's actually the same as negative 1. So this thing is 12i minus 6 times negative 1, which is 12i plus 6. And again, that's on the test that we took of this, that would have been fine, but this is multiple choice, so it's 6 plus 12i. Notation is where you put the real number first and then the imaginary part. That's why I stick to that with multiple choice. Number 4, the most common mistake with this one is people just forget about the parentheses and then combine things. You have to distribute that negative. So a lot of people say 4 minus 2i minus 5 plus 9i, and then combine like terms. That's wrong because this should not be a plus. You should distribute that negative. Sorry. So it should be 4 minus 2i minus 5 minus 9i. Positive i plus that negative, or multiplied by that negative makes it change its sign. So 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Negative 2 minus 9 is negative 11i. Number 5, there's a couple different ways to do this, but the easiest way, you want to get rid of that I in the denominator, and so I multiply both the top and the bottom by just I. And I think originally maybe I taught some of you guys where I multiply by 3i. If you do it that way, you can, but then you'll have to reduce your answer at the end to make it match up with multiple choice. So that's the double choice with multiple choice. On the actual test, on short answer, if you multiply top and bottom by 3i, that will give you a point. But this time it's multiple choice. So if you multiply the top and bottom by 3i, again, it just multiple choice options until you reach the answer. If you multiply by I, my numerator by 2 minus 5i times I, 2i minus 5i squared. Just like before, the I squared is negative 1. 2i plus 5, or 5 plus 2i. So my numerator is 5 plus 2i. Then is 3 times I squared. I squared is negative 3. Technically, if you have a negative in the denominator, it's probably not a bad idea to put that negative up front, but I'm going to leave it like this, and the same thing on your test, I'm just going to leave it like that. I really am trying to test to make sure you know how to multiply the top and the bottom by I, not all some of those small intricacies of that. Next one, same thing. I cannot have an I in the denominator, so I need to multiply the top and the bottom. Zoom in here. By 7 plus 5i conjugate. Now remember, not just the bottom, you have to multiply the top as well. Because again, if you multiply by fraction, we're multiplying the top and the bottom have to be the same because we're really just multiplying by 1. If that doesn't make any sense, just remember you have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing. So my we'll do over here is 2 11i multiplied by 7 2 times I is 10i times 7 and 11 5i squared. Just making sure I have all that right. They're like term is 87 squared is now negative 55 because the I squared is 1, and 14 minus 55 is 41 plus 87. My denominator is 7 minus 5i times 7 plus 5i, and you better have your final answer and not have any i's in there. That's the whole idea. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times positive 5i is positive I. Sorry. Positive 35i. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35i. Negative 5i times positive 5i is negative 25i squared. So I have positive 35 here, so those are going to cancel each other out. That's great. Then the negative 25i squared is now positive 25 because, again, the I squared is negative 1. 49 plus 25 is 74. So being negative 41 plus 87i over 74. Okay, moving on. Number 7, the square root of negative 44. Well, the square root of 44 is 12, so since it's negative, it's 12i. We kind of just did this. Times 9 is 45. 5 times 3 is 15i. Times 9 is 63i. And positive 3i is negative 21i squared. So 15 and the 63 combined to get negative 48. 45 minus 48i plus 21. And then 45 plus 21 multiplies, or sorry, adds up to be 66 minus 48i. And these are, I think, these are the ones that are a little bit unique, and it's all that if you do, obviously, I to the first is just I squared, we just said, is negative 1. Negative square root of I times negative square root of negative 1 times square root of negative 1. I to the third is just, negative I multiplied by another square root of negative 1. And I to the fourth is positive 1 multiplied by another square root of negative 1. We can talk about how to get those if you want. About that you can, but then it goes in a loop. To the fifth is back up to I to the sixth, I to the seventh, I to the eighth, I to the ninth, I to the 10th, I to the 11th, I to the 12th, and you realize every multiple of 4 starts over at 1. So you want a multiple of 4 that's as close to 3 as I can get without going over. That's 36. 36, I need 38, so I have 2 left. So I have 36. Now the whole reason I picked 36 is it's divisible. It's definitely going to be good. We were doing earlier with those arrows, you could easily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 34, 35, 36 is how we loop 2, 1. Squared we know is negative 1, so that's 1. So this is just equal to that I can reduce. The closest I can get to 81, that's divisible by 4 is 80. 80 times I to the first. 80 is 1, I to the first is just I, so this one ends up being I. Never have any exponents with I because it's all taken care of in these last, oops, too quickly because that's so small. This next one says find the remainder when using synthetic division. So we're going to basically use division with this. The number that goes in this box is what makes this 0. says x plus 3, I'm going to use negative 3 for that. So it's negative 3 here. First row, it's all your leading coefficients or all your coefficients, I should say. So 1, 7, 10, negative 16, 50. Line. That's what we're looking for. Biggest mistake when people do synthetic division, you forget this first number drops straight down. You don't people mess up. Go to the loop. It's number multiplied by 1 goes here, and we add those together. Negative 3 times negative 3 times positive, then add those together. 3 times negative 6, then add 3 times negative 30, then add those together. That is your remainder. So that's what you're looking for that one. So that's the Chapter 7 review. Now let's move on to the Chapter 8 review. Solve for x by taking the square of both sides. The tricky one with this, so we can't do anything inside the parentheses until we cancel that x, the square root of both sides. So that cancels, we just have x, but remember it's plus or minus 12. Will work, or negative 12. It works like that, and I'm going to split it up. I have positive 12 as one of my answers, and negative 12, whoops, as one of my answers. Add 6 to both of them. That's 18. Over here, when you add 6, you get negative 6. So negative 6 and 18 are both your answers for that. So you have to make sure you're careful that there are 2 answers for that one. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. That might be easier. So we have to get the square root all by itself first before we can get inside of that square root. So I have both sides. This is equal to by 3 is 9. Now we can get rid of that square root since it's all by itself. So both sides, get that to cancel, and x is equal to 9 squared is 81. Now, get inside the square root until I get rid of the square root, or I should say, that cancels. X plus 7 is 125. That 7 is 125 is 118. Honestly, I tried to put this one in here kind of as a grade booster. I wanted to help you guys out. That's quick. Not too bad. But if you're ever squaring something, just do it twice. 3x times 3x is 9x. 3x times 8 is 4x. 3x is 24x, and 8 times 8 is 64. X squared plus 48x plus 64. We do not want to do, I want to say that that's 3x squared plus 64, where you take the squared. You do not do it that way. Multiplication, if it's an problem, it'd be a little bit, but since you're adding, it's 2 terms, just the easiest way is just go ahead and multiply it out. We have a fraction as an exponent, so go ahead and get itself. Plus 9 is equal to 34 minus 9 is 2/3. We take both of them raised to the 3/2. So these are 2. They cancel. I got x is equal to 25 3/2. I would just put that in my calculator. 125 raised to the exponent, and then put 3 over 2 as your exponent. It ends up being 125. Technically, it's supposed to be because this is 2 in the is like a square root. But we don't worry about that. Basically, on the multiple choice on the final, I'm not going to worry about that. Computer's not doing everything I want. That's okay. You will get a formula sheet. I was going to have it, but I don't yet. But you definitely will get this exponent sheet. So this is going to be very useful when it comes to this problem, because the first thing you need to do is you need to reduce all those radicals. So again, when we do that, these are all third roots. So third. 108 is right in here, and so I'm going to find which one of those is a factor of 108. I just hit my elbow and it hurt really bad. Okay. Divided by 4 doesn't work. 1.6. Divided by 27. Okay, 27. It's 24. The third root. Take 27 because it was from our list. I think one up here. Divided by 125 doesn't work. 192 divided by 64. Oh, 64 and 3. Plus, over here, 500 divided by 343 doesn't work. 500 divided by 216 doesn't work. 500 divided by 120 does. 125 times the third root of 4. You go down and reduce all these. The of 27. That's the third root of 4. If you didn't know that, you can use a calculator or over here. 27 here, so the third root is 3 of 64. Third root of 3. And is 5. Third root of 4. From here, now we combine these, we add these together, but we can only do it if they have the same radicals. We can do, so 3 plus 5 is 8. And the other combined by anything, or a third root of 3. We've done this a bunch. Again, this is another one I left in there because it should be a no-brainer at this point. Okay. We have an exponent raised to another exponent. We multiply this. X raised to 12. If you didn't know that, that's fine. Hopefully you do now, but there probably will be one like that on the test. And I'm trying to be nice with it. Let's split this up. We have the fourth root of x to the 24th. We have the fourth root of y to the 30th. Okay. If they divide the exponent and the index number, so 4 divided by 4 is 6. You can divide those and get rid of your radicals. Evenly, 30 by 4 is the best way to do that. So we can make it divide evenly. Change 30 into some number that's a factor of 4. Basically, what I is going to change that 30 to y to the 28th. That is by 4. You can't, if you took 28 of them, we have 2 more of them left. That's what gave us the original 30. Divided by 4, so that's y to the 7th. This part doesn't change at all. So then you put these together, x to the 6th, y to the 7th, times the fourth root of y squared. Exponent form, being careful with this one, that is x raised to the 3 over 5. Again, don't make that harder than it is. I'm not saying it's super easy. There's a lot of things easy to confuse with it, but you can definitely study that and memorize it. So that is very helpful. So that's the last one from chapter 8. I will continue another video on chapter 9 and 10. If you have any questions, let me know.